Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to begin by giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Recha, Hudash. Double honors to the elders and to the apostles of Great Millstone, and enough respect to the brothers that they're pushing and spreading the gospel of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahshai to the four corners of the world. Now, through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahshai, I just want to do a quick lesson on a topic of famine, because what's going on now is that, this mass firings that Trump is doing has affected a branch of the government which is the Famine Early Warning Systems Network that monitors droughts, crop production, food prices, and other indicators in order to forecast food insecurity before famine hits. And this department has been eradicated. And so, we're seeing things that prove the men of the Lord to speak the truth in Yahweh Bashem Yahshai, displayed in front of our very eyes. So, to get into this article, first off, it's entitled, "A U.S.-run system alerts the world to famines. It's gone dark after Trump slashed foreign aid." It says a vital U.S.-run monitoring system focused on spotting food crises before they turn into famines has gone dark after the Trump administration slashed foreign aid. The Famine Early Warning Systems Network monitors drought, crop production, food prices, and other indicators in order to forecast food insecurity in more than 30 countries. Funded by U.S. aid and managed by contractor Chemonics International, the project employs researchers in the United States and across the globe to provide 8 months projections of where food crisis will emerge. And I believe they have a website. If you watched the channel of Ice Age Farmer, he will reference these people. Okay, it says now it worked to prevent hunger in Sudan, South Sudan, Somalia, Yemen, Ethiopia, Afghanistan, and many other nations. Has been stopped amid the Trump administration's effort to dismantle U.S. Agency for International Deployment. And this is the Babylon is so comfortable, they dwell so carelessly, they don't even think famine is going to hit them. They get rid of people who are diligent in spotting one of the worst things that can happen to a man, and they get rid of it because their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever. They never think famine can hit them, despite many warnings that getting rid of these immigrants, illegal immigrants, who the bulk of them work on farms, despite their warning that getting rid of them will cause food prices to go up, and altogether harvest yields being less than than American people are used to, he doesn't care, right? They kick them out anyway, and they expect food to simply grow itself and harvest itself for us, because Babylon dwells carelessly, pursuant to the book of Isaiah. It says, amid the aid freeze, FEWNet has no funding to pay staff in Washington or those working on the ground. The website is down, and its treasured trove of data that underpin global analysis of food security used by researchers around the world has been pulled offline. The FEWNet is considered the gold standard in the sector, and it publishes more frequent updates than other global monitoring efforts. Those frequent reports and projections are key, experts say, because food crises evolve over time, meaning early interventions save lives and money. You need to get your planning in place well in advance in order to avert the worst outcomes, which is the Boudreaux told CNN. A late intervention actually leads to much higher cost in terms of responding, and those costs can be measured both in terms of the cost to the United States government or other agencies that are responding, but also cost in terms of livelihoods of people who are being affected. The U.S. aid recently indicated that the humanitarian waiver issued by the State Department will apply to fuse net according to a source familiar with the FuseNet program, but aid workers did not yet have any specifics on what activities will resume, when or how, sources told CNN. Okay, so you get into here the book of Ezekiel, the 12th chapter. This applies to Israel, but because the judgment that came upon Israel because of their wickedness shall ultimately come upon our enemies, we can use that to apply to both Israel and the other nations, right? Moses prophesied that when it is time for us to finally accept righteousness, or when it's time for us to finally walk in the path of righteousness, which is going to be through Yahushai, these curses shall come upon our nation, shall come upon other nations. So right now we have begun to walk the path of righteousness. It's not in solid yet, but the remnant that are the few remnant righteous men in Yahweh Shemeshah upon the world have begun, to have this new laws written in our hearts. It's not, which is partially right. It's not completed yet, because we're still in these sinful bodies. But this is the time when these curses are supposed to come upon our enemies. So the book of Ezekiel chapter 12 says, Son of man, right? The word of the Lord Yahweh also came to me, saying, Son of man, thou dwellest in the midst of a rebellious house, which have eyes to see and see not. They have ears to hear and they hear not, for they are a rebellious house. Therefore, thou son of man, prepare thee staff for removing, and remove by day in their sight. And thou shalt remove from that place to another place in their sight. It may be they will consider, though they be a rebellious house, right? You read that in translation. It says, NIV, it says, therefore, son of man, pack your belongings for exile, and in the daytime, as they watch, set out and go from where you are to another place. Perhaps they will understand, though they are rebellious people. So the Lord has resorted to mimes, right? Look at the word mime. It says a standard of, Salakia. It says the act of using movements of your body, of your hands and body, and expressions on your face without speech to communicate emotions or actions or to tell a story. If you are familiar with these people in the street, they always act like they're in a glass box and they're miming and they're acting. That's what the word means, So the Lord has really resorted to, acting out the judgment, in case maybe they will understand. Let's try one more. Let's try another way to reach out to our people, but they still didn't. It says, then thou shalt bring forth by stuff by day in their sight. Let's do the whole thing in NIV. Verse 4 says, during the daytime while they watch, Slakia. Verse 5, while they watch, dig through the walls and take your belongings out through it. Put them on your shoulder as they are watching, and carry them out at dusk, and cover your face so that you cannot see the land, for I have made you a sign to the Israelites. So I did as I was commanded. During the day I brought out my belongings, packed for exile. Then in the evening I dug through the walls with my hands. I took my belongings out at dusk, carrying them on my shoulders while they watched. In the morning the word of the Lord Yahweh came to me, Son of man, did not the Israelites, that rebellious people, ask you, what are you doing? Now say unto them, this is what the sovereign Lord says. So finally we get the attention. The Lord had to, the prophets have tried everything in their power to reach out to our people. That's why when Yahweh appears in the sky, if you ain't down for the Lord, there is no excuse. He is tired of going through this with you wicked Israelites, man. He is tired of this. When Yahweh comes, he's not coming as a man. He's not come to hear please. He's not doing that. All right? It says, this prophecy concerns the prince of Jerusalem and all the Israelites who are there. And say unto them, I am assigned to you as I have done, so it will be to them. they will go into exiles as captives. Now, let's go into the next map. Now we know what the context is. It says, they will know that I am the Lord Yahweh when I disperse them among the nations and scatter them through the countries. But I will spare a few of them from the sword, famine, and plagues, so that in the nations where they go, they may acknowledge all their detestable practices. Then they will know that I am the Lord Yahweh. Now, I wanted to get this point right. It says, the word of the Lord came unto me, Son of man, tremble as you eat your food, and shudder in fear as you drink your water. And say to the people of the land, this is what the sovereign Lord Yahweh says about those living in Jerusalem and in the land of Israel. They will eat their food in anxiety and drink their water in despair, for their land will be stripped of everything in it because of the violence who live there. And as a matter of fact, I wanted to bring, let me see, the book of Revelations, where it talks about inflation. Let me see. That third seal being famine. Revelation chapter 6. Verse 5. Let me put it in KJV. It says, and when he had opened the third seal, I heard the angel say, come, right? And see, and I beheld, lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And a penny is pretty much a day's worth of work. Right? You go out, you spend all your days, you spend all your day working, doing 12-hour, 16-hour shift, right? Just to get a measure of wheat, just a small portion of wheat or a small portion of barley, right? And see, thou hurt not the oil and the wine. Okay, so a lot of people out there are gonna be caught up in the famine, all right? And we always see snippets of this prophecy coming into pass as a sign to what? As a pretty much as a how do I put it? For those who believe in Yahweh Shai, it's to their joy, and for those who don't believe in Yahweh Shai, it's a warning to them. It's a what do you call it? It's a dark reminder, right, as to what is coming to their future. So you can read this article for yourself. They prevented a whole lot of famine. They saved a lot of lives. But now look at that. The Lord is, which shows you that the Lord, all this comfort that Esau, Edom had, or the people of the world had in general, is all up to the Lord Yahweh. Look at how vulnerable this makes a lot of people right now, and people still won't fear the Lord. Hey man, look, I hope this was edifying. Shalom, Yahweh, Bashim, Shai, Brakatham, Joy, Akims, and Akos, that are listening in truth and sincerity. May the blessing of blessing be upon the house, and may the Lord grant us the privilege of being sustained and eaten with gladness in a time of famine. So with that, I'm going to end right there. Shalom. Yahweh Bashim Shai Brakatham.